What's happening, guys? My name is Max. Welcome back for another reaction. Today we are checking out Andrew Garfield. I'm getting a lot of requests to check out his communication skills, so that's what we're going to do today. If you're new here, I'm a communication skills coach, and on this channel, I react to all different types of people's communication skills. So if this is your thing, do me that favor, hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Without further ado, let's get into today's video with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. And that you are not a singer.
No.
That you were unprepared, but just a friend of yours had told Lynn, oh, he has a voice of an angel.
Yeah, he lied.
And so cast you. But then you got cast and you had to go do it.
Yeah.
So what was that like to finally open your mouth and sing these songs?
Yeah.
A sign of a good communicator waits for the other person to finish speaking. But if you notice and you go back, you can see him engaged. He was showing active listening skills while Stephen Colbert was asking him that long question.
Oh, he has a voice of an angel.
Yeah, he lied.
And so cast you.
Andrew chimed in as an acknowledgement to say, hey, I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm going to quickly answer. I know you're still speaking, but I have a second to insert something to show you that I'm engaged, to show you that I'm listening. And then I'll still continue to wait for you to finish your question before I go on and respond. So I think just in that little bit, we can learn from Andrew's patience there, his composure, and his active listening skills.
Lynn's amazing because he's the kind of person that can see you better than you can see yourself. So he had seen me on stage in Angels in America, and he had said to me, I think you can sing. And I was like, I think you might be wrong. And he was like, no, trust me, whoever gave you that idea.
Well, I see a lot of actors do this. I don't know if it's a part of their shtick or it's just something that's a part of their personality, but notice the quick little line of self-deprecation there.
And he had said to me, I think you can sing. And I was like, I think you might be wrong.
Kind of downplaying himself, because notice that he's talking about a skill that is seen as something that's admirable. So in order to balance that, what he's done is he's brought himself down a peg, right? And I think that's just a way to establish his humility. It's a self-deprecation technique. If it's done in a sincere way, it can humanize people.
And he was like, no, trust me, whoever gave you that idea that you couldn't do things, I want to have a stern word with them. He was that kind of avuncular, kind of caring.
So noticing Andrew really uses his gestures on top of his words and his language to do a lot of communicating. And I actually think a lot of the time it can add to the amount of engagement you have as a speaker.
No one come in because this is me naked in here, vocally. Not literally, I wasn't singing naked. But it may, this could have been. But it would have maybe helped.
It's theater.
It's theater, it's the theater community, baby.
Sure.
You know how we do it.
You can hear Stephen Colbert say theater, and then Andrew turns to him and says, yep, theater, baby.
But it would have maybe helped.
It's theater.
It's theater, it's the theater community, baby.
Sure.
You know how we do it.
So Andrew, very aware of his surroundings here, clearly, but not only did he hear what Stephen said, he made it a point to shift to him, stop his train of thought, and make a remark based on Stephen Colbert's remark.
It's the theater community, baby.
Sure.
So a really charming conversational move that Andrew pulled out right there.
Lynn had snuck in the back of the room, the bastard. And the first thing I knew was that he was there was his shoe flew across my face while I was in the middle of the first phrase of this song. And I looked around and it was him looking at me angrily, happily, and he said, Andrew Garfield, you can sing!
He's got a real charm about him. Excellent storyteller, very composed, you know, gifted speaker. Everything, though, kind of does seem very sort of textbook with his gestures and the way he crosses his legs and the way he looks at you. It's like he knows how to be a good communicator, but I feel like there's a lot more to him, and it would be interesting to hear him get kind of like real.
The names of 14 roommates that the characters had?
Yeah, so
Okay.
so yeah, John Larson, he was living in the East Village, and you know, it was an artist's apartment, and he had like this kind of
Wrote this
carousel.
musical, wrote Rent.
And he had this carousel.
If there's one thing we can take away so far from his communication skills that we can incorporate into our own, it's acknowledging what the other person says.
Wrote Rent.
Wrote Rent.
Right? Like, I'm all about how do we better connect with people? How do we build better relationships with people? And I think showing active listening skills like this is a good way to do that.
Don't forget the neighbors, Michelle and Gay, more like a family than the family, hey. This is the life of Bo.
He's communicating to the audience like, I'm unsure. How was that? Good? Was it good? Notice how he closed his eyes during that delivery too, as in like he's a little shy or he doesn't want to come across as too brash or confident. Imagine he did that rendition with his eyes open and like engaged the audience and really put on the performing chops. It would have a different effect. He did it with his eyes closed, and I think that kind of added to his likability a bit because he seemed a little more shy, seemed a little more humble. See what body language and facial expressions can do to our interpretation of how people feel about themselves or how much we like someone, how much we trust someone. So I wonder if that was conscious or not.
I know that you yourself have suffered great grief just recently with the loss of your mother, and I'm sorry for your family's loss.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering how doing this show or any show, how art itself helps you deal with grief.
And before he gets into that answer, I will say I usually don't like analyzing talk shows. There's just something about having an audience and being on national TV that I think inhibits these guys or restricts these guys from really like letting their walls down and really being themselves.
I hope this grief stays with me because it's all the unexpressed love that I didn't get to tell her. And I told her every day. We all told her every day. She was the best of us. And this film is kind of to do with that. It's to do with this ticking clock that we all have, that we all know in somewhere deep down that life is sacred, life is short, and we better just be here as much as possible with each other, holding on to each other.
He expresses himself very well. He's obviously a very articulate, gifted storyteller. And obviously this is a meaningful topic to him. He's talking about grief, his mom, but he's picked up his level of engagement and captivation. If you notice, he's actually now making more eye contact with the audience. He's engaging the audience more. He's engaging Stephen Colbert more. Right? He hasn't toned down his expressiveness and his enthusiasm. And I think this is an example here of Andrew feeling like he has something meaningful to say to his audience. And I tell people all the time, if you want to get into a presentation, think about what is one thing you can say that can be helpful or interesting to your audience.
I can honor the most beautiful person that I've ever experienced in my life through my art and use it as a way to heal, use it as a way to sew up the wounds, because that's what we do, right? That's what we do. That's what you do every night. You sew up our wounds. You sew up our wounds.
Although I do believe Andrew was being sincere in his sentiments there, and they were certainly touching, having a big studio audience, hearing people clap, seeing the band, it just kind of, again, takes away from the intimacy of the moment. So aside from that, he delivered that message beautifully. And like I said, he's like stepped it up in terms of his level of engagement, and he's kept his gestures going almost as if like he really wants you to hear that message.
They knew the power of art, and they knew the power of leaving the world in a slightly more beautiful state than when they found it. So thank you for letting me talk about her.
Yeah, that just shows how much of a professional he is, right? Just the ability to continue talking about something that was obviously meaningful to him in front of an audience and still be able to deliver it in a sincere way. Like, the dude is a professional.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that.
Tick, tick, boom.
All right, that was my first look at Andrew Garfield. I'm going to have to check out some more of him. But I'm happy I checked him out, so thank you for all your recommendations. Guys, if you want to check out my uncut reaction and analysis of this video, all you need to do is click on my Patreon link below. That's where I keep all of my uncut videos, so you can check all of my stuff out there. Other than that, I appreciate you tuning in. My name is Max. I will catch you soon. Peace.